a new court ruling, a strong message. What this means for a massive data centers development.
Then, when it comes to Minnesota's fraud problem, who's to blame? A new report is pointing fingers at senior state officials, why they say the allegations are a joke.
Plus, after 25 years, the Minnesota DNR is getting an update. We'll tell you about the new technology going into effect today.
And later, the calls for safety from runway workers at MSP after an employee got a life-altering injury. Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to WCCO Mornings, streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Barrett Leone in for AJ.
And I'm Heather Brown. Thanks for being on the stream with us. We start this morning with a developing story. Police looking for a shooter. This is after someone was shot in their car at an intersection in Brooklyn Park.
Now, according to police, it happened just before 10:30 last night. The victim was in a car near the intersection of Brooklyn Boulevard and Regent Avenue North in Brooklyn Park, then drove to Brooklyn Center and called police, telling them they were shot by someone in another car. Police found several shell casings and believe the shooter shot at the car before driving off. The victim was taken to the hospital. Also new this morning, a man is in the hospital and another is in custody following a shooting in northwest Minnesota.
So this happened yesterday afternoon. It's up in Fallston. It's about 45 miles west of Bemidji. According to police, someone shot a man inside an apartment. Officers say that the victim had already gone to the hospital with serious injuries, but when police got there, they found the suspect and arrested him. There have been no updates on the victim's condition. And charges are now pending. This is after a high-speed chase and a standoff that ended in a farm field. This is just south of Mankato.
The Blue Earth County Sheriff says the man fired at officers after ditching this stolen car. Luckily, no one got hurt and they were able to arrest him, but they couldn't find the gun. Deputies then pulled out metal detectors and found it buried nearby. Let's head over to the live desk. Maria Lizignoli joining us now following data center developments in two Minnesota cities. Maria.
Yes, right now the data center debate is happening in Faribault and Inver Grove Heights. But let's start here in Faribault. The Minnesota Court of Appeals ruling is now slowing plans for a massive data center project there. The court ruled in favor of the Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy, who argued that residents in Faribault didn't have clear answers to questions about air quality impacts, noise pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions.
And in study after study, what we saw is because these companies are caught up in a race to build the biggest AI data centers as possible, as quickly as they can, they often skip giving really any sense of the answers to those big questions about what the impacts of these projects would be.
An attorney representing the city said they are disappointed, but wrote in part, quote, "The city takes its environmental review obligations seriously and believes it acted appropriately and in good faith based on the information available at the time." Archer Data Centers, which is the development company, said the initial environmental assessment was part of our ongoing effort to be as transparent as possible, adding they respect the court's decision and plan to move forward. Meanwhile, in Inver Grove Heights, the city is also looking to pause plans there for a data center project. We'll tell you what went down in a city council meeting last night coming up in the next half hour.
Maria, thank you. This morning we have new information. This is on several small wildfires up near the Boundary Waters.
The Loon Fire is just southwest of Lac LaCroix and straddles the Canadian border. That has burned 10 acres. The Buck Fire is about a quarter-mile north of Buck Lake. That one's burned about a quarter acre. Both were started by lightning. Two other recent wildfires, the Tiger and Birch Bay, are now both 100% contained. An important reminder, though, if you're planning on heading into the Boundary Waters this week, a campfire ban is in effect. This is because of dry conditions and wildfire danger. The ban lasts through the entire month.
A recent life-altering injury is causing people who deliver food and water to airplanes at MSP to call for better safety measures. So the workers at Sky Chefs say that the company changed the way that they do their jobs. They say it used to be 2 workers transporting things out on the tarmac, but now only 1 person does that job. They say it helps to have 2 people to watch out for airport traffic, and recently they say a worker was hurt and is now paralyzed.
They all talk about safety, but they care about the safety of the aircrafts and then delays, not about the safety of us.
So the organization that owns and operates MSP is scheduled to do an inspection of Sky Chef's facilities on Thursday. Sky Chefs replied to Monday's press conference saying, following the safety-related concerns that were raised earlier this year regarding single-operator catering, Sky Chefs conducted a thorough investigation and found no evidence to support the allegations.
Happening today, phase 1 of the new DNR system launch begins. Getting your hunting or fishing license will now be easier. The previous system was 25 years old and in need of an upgrade. This upgrade includes an app where you can buy and store all of your licenses. Plus, you can register your harvest offline in case you're out somewhere without service.
Is that it's definitely being responsive to what we've heard. You know, we've heard the desires. We know we've heard over the years what people wanted. And so we're hoping that this new system will absolutely meet those needs of our users.
As for phase 2 of the launch, we don't have a date just yet. If you'd like to do things the old-fashioned way, you're still able to get your licenses in person if you prefer.
Caught on camera, a deer turned a Plymouth workshop into a drive-through. This happened at a city maintenance facility last week, and it certainly surprised the workers there who just watched this deer roll right on through. A few tried to shoo it away. Eventually, the deer found its way out. Poor deer, Joseph. Poor deer.
Yeah, definitely. Come on.
Right?
It's lost.
Being scared to death in there. Just get it out.
Never feels good to feel scared like that, right?
Yeah, no.
Let me actually tell you about something that we have coming up. This is going to be arriving as we go through the day today and heading into tomorrow. We have multiple opportunities for strong to severe weather that's likely going to move on in late after sunset. For now, when you're heading out, you're pretty good. I mean, we have dry conditions around here. We have a smattering of a few showers and maybe a couple thunderstorms up to the northwest, but overall it looks like we're doing pretty good right now. You'll just be dealing with some clouds and some warmth out there. 70 degrees in the cities, mid-60s in Hinckley, 66 out of St. Cloud. This is our starting point. I believe we'll probably throw like another 20 degrees on top of this as we head into the afternoon. So here's the next 24 hours for you. I have by 4 p.m. about 90 degrees there. And then notice as we head into the overnight, this is our first window for storms and potentially even severe weather. Now, most of the severe weather today will be in the Dakotas in western Minnesota, but it looks like it could stay together and travel through across the overnight. So we will make sure that we're covering that for you when you go to bed tonight, so you know what's coming up and what you can expect if you do wake up. We have lower 90s. It's going to be very, very hot. We have 90 in the cities. We've yet to actually officially hit it, but I definitely see that as a possibility today. And then I have mid to upper 80s over in western Wisconsin. So a lot of heat around. And the difference from maybe, last week when we had some mid-80s is our dew points are actually going to be even a little bit higher. So we're going to have heat indices that are crossing the 90-degree threshold. And for you folks up north, that's pretty warm for this time of the year and just in general. So heat alerts, there's a heat advisory from noon to 8 p.m. for all these orange/peach counties. Does include Itasca County and some of the counties nearby because those temperatures will be feeling like they're in the lower 90s. So you just have to take a few extra breaks. Air quality alert also in place with the sun interacting with some of the pollutants closer to the surface. We're going to get some ground ozone. You just don't want to spend time outdoors if you are sensitive to this. A mask won't help you, so you'll just have to be indoors, which is unfortunate. So that's unhealthy for sensitive groups. That's a code orange. That will be for the afternoon as we get a little bit of sunshine. Okay, I mentioned the storm threat increasing late tonight, but that's just the first one. We have a second event that's going to move in tomorrow, and we already have a next weather alert in place for the day tomorrow. One, because of the early storms, and also because of the afternoon evening storms, and I'll discuss that coming up at 7:30. Heather.
Sounds good. Joseph, thanks. Take a look now at your next drive. Things looking pretty normal for this Tuesday morning. Out here, some of the busier spots starting to pick up here, but no crashes to report. Nothing major out there. Take you down to 35 Crystal Lake coming into town. This is that crowd that's going right into that construction zone, but you can see traffic moving along nicely here.
A new report on Minnesota's fraud crisis lays the blame on our elected leaders. The report found they didn't do enough to stop these fraudsters from stealing from taxpayers.
This comes after months of interviews by the House Oversight Committee in Washington, D.C., which does have a GOP majority. Minnesota Republican Tom Emmer said in a statement that fraudsters may be holding the smoking gun, but Tim Walz and Keith Ellison handed it to them. According to the committee, both the governor and the attorney general knew about widespread Medicaid fraud problems as early as 2019. The report also says that they knew about the risks of Feeding Our Futures operation in the spring of 2020. And from there, they are accused of not doing enough to stop various schemes from getting out of control. A spokesperson for Governor Walz is calling this committee a joke, and the attorney general says it's entirely politically motivated.
I have not seen any willingness or desire to get to the real truth of how we protect public dollars. We could use the help of the federal government. We really could. We could use the help of that committee, but we didn't get any. What we got was things like, just trying to cast blame a few months before a national midterm election.
So the report's 205 pages. It went public yesterday. We did reach out to Ellison, as you can see, but he said he hadn't had a chance to read it yet.
His team is pointing to a long list of inaccuracies as Republicans tout it all as proof that Democratic leadership fell short. In a rare move, the Trump administration is working to strip U.S. citizenship from 17 people, including a man who lives here in Minnesota. According to new court filings, Abdi Kadir Ali Kadiyai submitted admission applications under 2 different names in 1997 and 1998. A judge denied one, but the other was granted. Charges say Kadiyai later admitted to a customs agent that he used 2 different identities. He's been a citizen since 2012. 24 denaturalization cases were filed under the Biden administration. That number has already been passed within the last year.
President Trump became the first sitting president to attend an NBA Finals game.
CBS News' Bradley Blackburn tells us about the mixed reaction and heightened security at Madison Square Garden.
At Madison Square Garden, President Trump received a mixed reaction from the crowd as he watched the San Antonio Spurs win NBA Finals Game 3 over his hometown New York Knicks.
We all had a lot of fun. It was great to watch. Very talented players.
His attendance, along with a Sunday night stabbing attack at New York's Penn Station, led to heightened security around the venue. Watch parties were pushed further away to places like Bryant Park.
When we get down here, we find out that there's no watch party in front of the garden. Come on, man.
After the game, President Trump's focus turned to the Middle East. Tensions flared early Monday when Iran and Israel traded strikes. Later, they announced a pause in attacks.
They were going back and forth, and now they both agreed through me to stop. And we're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal.
The president also gave an update on the rescue of 2 U.S. military pilots whose helicopter crashed near the Strait of Hormuz.
The pilots are fine, yeah. And nobody injured.
Meanwhile, President Trump has officially nominated acting Attorney General Todd Blanche to the job permanently.
I don't think that he should be confirmed under any circumstance.
The president's former personal attorney could face bipartisan Senate pushback over the latest indictment of former FBI Director James Comey and the scrapped $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Iran's United Nations envoy says he hopes a peace agreement between the U.S. and his country could be reached by the end of this month.
So from the Olympic trials to the biggest night in football, one woman helps put Minnesota on the map.
A behind-the-scenes look at how Minneapolis has scored some of its biggest events.
Then, what if you could make your exercise workout just a little bit easier? That's the idea behind an AI-generated gym. We're going to see how this data-driven drill works. Imagine having these credits to your name: a Super Bowl, a Final Four, and the Olympic trials. In Women in Sports, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield introduces us to Debbie Estes. She's the woman helping score big events for the Twin Cities.
You don't like being in the spotlight?
No, I'm a behind-the-scenes person.
And what scenes she has been behind. The gymnastics Olympic trials, the men's Final Four, the women's Final Four, and she helped bring the Super Bowl to Minnesota, too.
What was that like? That moment they said, Minneapolis.
Will be played in Minnesota.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations.
You kind of go, we can do this.
Yeah. And did they ever do it? One of the pinnacles of a career that Debbie never saw coming. She majored in political science and history.
I worked on campaigns, and I was an advanced person at the White House, and I realized combining that creativeness and making it happen, it was really fun, and I was good at it.
She used that newfound talent to host events for Target for 20 years, then Best Buy for 13, and then what she calls her encore career.
Sports is that denominator that brings people together, brings energy together, brings families together and fans together, and that's really, I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to do it.
She works at Minnesota Sports and Events, and the wall tells the story.
This is also when Caitlin Clark won, and
there she is.
There she is, and all of Iowa came up to Minnesota. It was so much fun.
As proud as she is of the sports events, she's even more proud of the free events that they create around them.
Most of these events do not, not everybody can attend. There's only so many tickets, but they want to feel a part of it.
Something else she's championed: visibility for all.
Have you seen the support for women's sports evolve?
Yes. When the women's basketball teams were starting, you kind of had to fight to, say we need to sponsor both the NBA and the WNBA internally. And now it's a no-brainer.
That's progress.
That's progress.
With photojournalist Jose Pascual, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, WCCO News.
Now, Estes's next big project will be welcoming the WWE SummerSlam to the U.S. Bank Stadium in August. You can get those tickets right now. In just 2 weeks, the next women's golf major will be underway. It's going to be right here in Minnesota. The Women's PGA Championship. It'll be held at Hazeltine National in Chaska. This is for the second time in a 7-year span. And this course is always tough, but the recent rain makes missing fairways even tougher.
It's a challenge. The spring we had a lot of cold nights, and then finally started to warm up, and the rough has continued to flourish and elevate, and I kind of hear it every day that Kyle, when are we going to mow the rough? And it's kind of gnarly out there, but it's just that time of year.
Women's PGA Championship is happening June 25th through the 28th. There's a new gym powered by AI. It's opening up in Woodbury. It says robotic fitness technology can help maximize strength training. Our Derek James puts it to the test.
20 minutes twice a week. That's the promise behind the Exercise Coach. The workouts are designed for all ages and fitness levels, but many clients are 40 and older, including this reporter.
So let me hit start.
The proprietary Exerbotic machines first measure your strength and range of motion.
The machine will then use that to create the workout for you, so that you are always spending the most time under tension in the right amount for you.
The goal is to keep muscles working continuously while the machine adjusts resistance and movement by staying within the lines of this graph.
That's reducing some of that wear and tear on the joints. That's creating a little bit of a safer experience, especially for somebody who's looking at some age-related muscle loss.
Owner Chris Geiser says the technology is what first caught his attention.
I love data, I love systems, and this had both of those, but also allowed us to help transform people's lives, have an impact on their health.
While the tech drives the workout, every session is still guided by a coach.
A little over halfway there.
The workout may be short, but it doesn't feel easy.
I know I'm making terrible faces.
Open.
The studio also incorporates balance and cognitive training to help clients maintain stability and coordination as they age.
We don't need to accept a casual decline in muscle mass. We can keep it up with the right level of intensity and the right frequency.
There you go.
For anyone who's fallen out of an exercise routine, Chris has a simple invitation.
You might be surprised what your body can still do, so we do invite you to give it a shot.
That one looks great.
In Woodbury, Derek James, WCCO News.
The new exercise coach studio opens up this Friday. One-on-one coaching, lead training is $35 to $45 a session. Coming up, we'll have another update on your next weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then HCMC says they are still scrambling, even after getting much needed funding from the state government. We'll tell you the concerns workers have about an upcoming cut from the Trump administration. That's next. Stay with us.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good Tuesday morning, 7:26. Joseph Live, your next weather forecast coming up in just a minute. But first, the data center debate is happening right now in Faribault. A Minnesota Court of Appeals ruling is slowing plans for a massive data center project down there. The court ruled in favor of the Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy, who had argued that residents didn't have clear answers to questions about their air quality impacts, noise pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions. Let's take a look now at your next drive. Things looking really good for this Tuesday morning. You can tell it's cool as getting out here because the roads are looking good even at this time here. No crashes to report, nothing major. Take you to one of those busy spots out in Roseville. You can see skies are overcast and roads are dry. Joseph?
Yeah, it's quite muggy as well. I mean, temperatures right now in the 70s, dew points in the upper 60s. Anytime you see dew points in the upper 60s, it is going to be very humid out there. It's cloudy right now, though we will skip these clouds out of here and we will bring in some sun. So you'll have the combination of sun and humidity this afternoon. And we do have an air quality alert from noon till about 8 or 9 p.m. because of ground ozone around here. So please be careful with that. All right, just about 80 by about lunchtime. And I do have a next weather tower that is red. These are your highs for the day. We have 90 in the cities, 87 coming out of Grand Rapids. But I have storm threats both tonight and tomorrow. We'll discuss that coming up at 7:30 and 8.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, the reason the man charged in the deadly Minnesota lawmaker attacks will not face the death penalty.
Then data centers causing controversy, the response from developers as some cities press pause on building them.
Plus, contract canceled. The move from Columbia Heights to quit the use of AI cameras in their city limits.
And later, a hospital given a lifeline. But now, what needs to happen to stop HCMC from flatlining in the future?
Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. I'm Barrett Leone in for AJ.
And I'm Heather Heather Brown. We begin this morning with no death penalty for the man charged in the deadly attacks on Minnesota lawmakers. The Department of Justice says that federal charges against Vance Belter don't reach the criteria for the death penalty.
This Sunday will mark 1 year since investigators say Belter killed former Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark. He's also charged with shooting State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Belter is charged in federal court with using GPS and the internet to stalk the Hoffmans before the shooting. The DOJ said Minnesota's U.S. attorney agrees with the decision. Belter is charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder in Minnesota State Court. A man charged with killing a beloved barber could face up to 40 years in prison. The judge set bail at $2.5 million for Omar Ramos Castro yesterday. Investigators say the 24-year-old admitted to killing Gabriel Arizola Perez with a pocket knife 2 weeks ago. Castro told investigators Perez made an unwanted advance after they met up near some train tracks in St. Paul, where police found the 44-year-old dead.
Today, a man accused of murder in Minneapolis is expected to be in court. Investigators say it was an ankle bracelet that proved to be the critical clue in tracking him down. The new charges say that the bracelet placed him at the scene of this deadly shooting over Memorial Day weekend. Police arrested the 21-year-old last Friday and say that he confessed. Developing this morning, police are looking for a shooter after someone was shot in their car. This is at an intersection in Brooklyn Park.
According to police, it happened just before 10:30 last night. The victim was in a car near the intersection of Brooklyn Boulevard and Regent Avenue North in Brooklyn Park, then drove to Brooklyn Center and called police, telling them they were shot by someone in another car. Police found several shell casings and believe the shooter shot at the car before driving off. The victim was taken to the hospital.
Also new this morning, a man is in the hospital and another is in custody. This is following a shooting in northwest Minnesota.
It happened yesterday afternoon in Fosston, Minnesota. That's about 44 miles west of Bemidji. According to police, someone shot a man inside an apartment. Officers say the victim had already gone to the hospital with serious injuries. When police got to the scene, they found the suspect and arrested them. There have been no updates on the victim's condition. Charges are now pending after a high-speed chase and standoff ended in a farm field south of Mankato.
Blue Earth County Sheriff says that the man fired at officers after ditching a stolen car. Well, nobody was hurt. They were, though, able to arrest him, but they couldn't find the gun. So deputies then pulled out metal detectors. They found it buried nearby.
Columbia Heights City Council voted to quit using a controversial AI camera company. They'll now cancel and pay off the contract with Flock Cameras. The 12 license plate reading cameras around the suburb were meant to assist in solving crimes or finding missing people, but privacy concerns have led to communities all over the country rethinking the use of Flock cameras. City Mayor Amada Marquez Simula worried about data falling into the hands of federal authorities, especially after her city was targeted by ICE during Operation Metro Surge earlier this year.
The main fear is that the federal government, federal agents can get to all this data and that we don't know who's using it, that no one's asking for warrants for this information.
A spokesperson with Flock said their technology has made a measurable public safety impact, assisting in about 20% of solved cases where the tech is deployed, while helping locate more than 10,000 missing people in 2025.
The Inver Grove Heights City Council once again pushed a vote to ban building data centers for 1 year to a future, and they say final date. So this is despite talks of a potential lawsuit from a developer of a specific project. Last night's City Council meeting, it was the second reading of a moratorium on building data centers in general in the city. The question now, though, is whether that ban would apply to a specific project. This comes after that company threatened legal action over a pending application that was submitted prior to the initial moratorium vote. And some residents are concerned about its impact on the community and the environment.
I live about a block and a half from the proposed site. I am worried about my family, my pets, my neighbors, my community.
The city must not back down in the face of litigation threats from a developer.
So Minneapolis is also considering a moratorium on data centers, though that will have some caveats. That proposal will be in front of a committee next week. It's also an opportunity for Minneapolis residents to share their views. So HCMC got what it's wanted, a big boost from lawmakers, and now the leaders of the state's busiest trauma hospitals say that they will put their money where their mouths are.
The CEO says they'll now work to make sure a financial crisis does not happen again. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield spoke with him for a story you'll only see on WCCO.
From the doctors.
We have to have a solution. We must keep Hennepin Healthcare open.
To the patients.
I wouldn't maybe be here if it wasn't for this hospital and all these wonderful nurses and doctors.
The message has been clear.
We would not want to see this hospital close.
And it won't, at least not for now, thanks to a governor-approved $205 million plus boost.
When you heard that there was going to be some sort of relief from the state, what was your reaction?
That was my reaction.
Dr. Cumming, who used to be a trauma surgeon at HCMC, was brought in amidst the hospital's traumatic financial situation.
Could there be things that could be done more efficiently that you're looking at?
Absolutely.
So county commissioners are adding an extra layer of accountability, planning to appoint a board of locals who are experts in finance and policy to support the CEO and staff.
For taxpayers out there, this was essentially a bailout you got. How did they know you're not here 2 years from now again?
I can tell you that our focus is really going to be on the patients, our workforce.
Dr. Cummings says the workforce has shrunk as staffers quit amidst the uncertainty. And instead of more staff cuts, he says they'll make more hires.
Where there really is a critical need for more personnel.
So they can help the critical needs of others.
Not only our county commissioners, but the legislators and the people of Minnesota. We recognize the significant support that we've received. We're committed to being accountable and responsible with those resources.
With photojournalist Drew Shingen, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, WCCO News.
Hospital leaders say they need to deal with the $1 billion in Medicaid cuts over the next 10 years. They will take care of immediate needs, then work on a new long-term plan.
It is 7:38 right now. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Joseph Dames. It is going to be humid out there today.
Yeah, humid, hot, very sticky. It's the high dew points. We've been saying, hey, we got tropical moisture around, and that's essentially just the moisture that has moved and traveled on in from the Gulf Coast. It just has Gulf Coast characteristics to it. So it's going to feel quite sticky out there. Usually a comfortable day in the summer for you and me and anyone that's up in this portion of the United States. The dew points are in the 50s, and we're going to be nearly at 70. All right, so we have clouds around this morning, though. We'll clear some of that out. So we're going to get some sun moving on in. And when the sun starts to take on over, the temperatures are going to warm up very quickly. It's also going to interact with some of the things going on towards the ground, some like car exhaust, some of the pollutants, and we're going to have ground ozone problems this afternoon. That's why there's an air quality alert in place at noon today, so you should be wary of that. Highs, I think 90. I'm going to go with 90 for the forecast high today. Upper 80s up to the north, mid to upper 80s over in western Wisconsin. You'll have to get real close to Lake Superior if you want to be cool, all right? Like right towards the Bay of Grand Marais, temperatures about 57 inland, maybe a mile or two. Well into the upper 60s to 70 degrees there. So we're going to take the sunshine and we're going to use that to build some fuel as well for thunderstorms. And you're going to see that our highest and most potent amount of thunderstorm fuel is actually going to be in the western portion of the state through the Dakotas. And this is where we are anticipating storms to develop later today into tonight. They're going to originate there in the Dakotas, and they're likely going to hold together and produce some storms overnight, potentially around the metro area while you're in bed tonight. And they could even be severe, so that's something that we want you to be ready for. And then that thunderstorm fuel shifts to the southeast as we head into our Wednesday, increasing our chances for severe weather again tomorrow here, as storms will likely originate here instead of out west, all right? So that's something that you need to be ready for as well. So let's go through the timing. I'm going to zoom through this afternoon because there's not a lot happening. There's going to be sun in the forecast. There's going to be clouds in the forecast, just kind of, meandering through the area. Nothing serious. But here comes those storms moving through out west. And right now, and the last couple of days, weather models have been holding on to those storms overnight. So yes, we lose the sun overnight, but what typically happens overnight is we get more moisture moving in, and that moisture will help keep these storms going, and that's one reason why. And so here you go. You can see at 3 a.m. we could see some very significant storms moving in, and it could be heavy rain, some downpours, a lot of lightning, but potentially damaging wind. and that's what we're most concerned about. So I think that window is anywhere from about 1 to 5 a.m. and then those storms depart the area. Now here's 1 p.m. I see scattered storms in the forecast, but I don't really think we're going to get to the real strong storms until late afternoon and evening. You can see about 5:15 right here that we have a lot starting to pop up, and all of these cells right here could definitely be severe. And those cells could be supercells where we could have some tornado warnings and then a little bit of rotation as well. So this is going to be the moment that we're most concerned about. Now everything looks to shift over to the east as we head into like the late evening, though the timing could definitely change tomorrow. So you'll want to be with us as those develop, and then we dry up as we head into our Wednesday night. So we already have a next weather alert in place for our Wednesday because of those severe storms all day for the first round overnight and for the second that develop later in the day. All right, Thursday we cool down, 79. I still see a chance for a couple storms as a system moves through. Once it departs, we dry up, and I think Friday could be a really nice summer day for us in the upper 70s, and then we cool down for the weekend. I have temperatures in the mid 70s Saturday and Sunday and lower 70s on Monday. Barrett.
Thanks, Joseph. Your next drive is looking pretty good. That exclamation point over in Woodbury just popped up here, so we'll work to investigate that. But overall, looking pretty good. A crash up on Highway 10 in the Mounds View area. It's pulled over on the shoulder, really not impacting traffic too much, but it is a busy stretch there on Highway 10. So just something to be aware of. Again, we will look into that crash in Woodbury that MnDOT just recently reported within the last 30 seconds or so.
Principal William Campbell, he was a star on the national stage. The leader of Olson Middle School recently won $63,000 on Wheel of Fortune. And we were in North Minneapolis yesterday as students and staff shared in his celebration.
To join in celebration of Dr. Campbell's appearance on Wheel of Fortune.
That's not an announcement students hear every day, but Monday at Olson Middle School, students filed into a watch party.
Are you ready to see the episode?
Not for a movie, not for a sporting event, but to watch their principal take a spin on Wheel of Fortune.
Where I'm a middle school principal at Olson Middle School.
For Dr. William Campbell, the win wasn't just about the money. It was a chance to put a positive spotlight on his school and on North Minneapolis.
8 to 10 million people heard Olson Middle School, home of the Panthers. So that is great, because typically when we report on schools, it's some of the unfortunate things that happen. A gusty day?
Yes,
a gusty day. Let's go!
One person he wishes could have seen it was his mother, a lifelong fan of the show who passed away last fall.
She would have been proud because she loved that show, and I'm sure she would have been excited to see her boy on TV.
William.
Jackhammer!
And when the camera started rolling, Campbell says he simply tried to be himself.
Several of my friends were saying things like, Ryan wasn't ready for you, Dr. Will. I felt like I was able to be me on that show.
The same personality viewers saw on television is the same one students see every day.
He's nice, and he always he tries to educate you and gets you to do stuff even if you don't want to do it.
Before pressing play, Campbell had one more lesson for his students.
And I think the most important lesson is being risk takers. Being on the Wheel of Fortune is a risk. Auditioning is a risk.
A lesson he hopes sticks long after the credits roll.
In life, you got to take risks and take chances, because you will miss every shot you don't take.
In Minneapolis with photojournalist Nick Luneman, Frank Vassalero, WCCO.
That is awesome.
Way to go, William.
So awesome. Yes.
I love it. Coming up, another update on weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines.
And later, special moments for a family of sea lions. After months of rehabilitation, we'll show you the magic moments that were captured on camera as they made their way back home.
Your bright spot this morning, an exciting moment in Los Angeles as 3 sea lion pups were released back into the wild. When these little pups were found, animal hospital workers say they were somehow separated from their mother and they were malnourished, but now they're healthy and happy. And there they go, going back to swim in the Pacific Ocean. These pups knew exactly what to do. They scampered right into the water. And to make it even cuter, they were named after food: marshmallow, casatelli, and orchette. An insect known for carrying debilitating diseases wasn't always on Minnesota's radar. In this Good Question, Jeff Wagner digs into the history of ticks in our region and why the concern has never been higher.
I've spent a lot of time walking through the woods in Minnesota thanks to disc golf, and this hobby has taught me to be acutely aware of ticks. But I've had older locals tell me they don't remember ticks being an issue when they were kids playing outside. So when did ticks become a problem in Minnesota? Good question. The answer starts across the country, in Connecticut, in a small town called Lyme.
People there in the 1970s were getting sick with symptoms like severe fatigue, headaches, skin rashes, and swollen knees. The mysterious disease would later take on the town's name, Lyme. In the 1980s, scientists determined it came from a tick bite, specifically a deer tick.
That same decade, the Minnesota Department of Health started to identify cases of Lyme disease in the state, which started to raise awareness about the dangers of tick bites.
So it used to be, 20 years ago, we saw ticks maybe in Washington County, a little bit of Anoka County, and then kind of speckled throughout. And now we see deer ticks established pretty much all throughout the state of Minnesota.
Alex Carlson is with the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District.
The reason that ticks are such an issue today is because of 3 main factors. One is our reduced natural boundaries. We're living right among animals, both domesticated animals and then wildlife.
Ticks get Lyme disease from biting infected rodents like mice. They then latch onto deer, which saw its population explode in the 20th century, spreading the infected ticks across the state.
And so we don't see those natural predators for those types of small mammals like mice and squirrels. Foxes and predatory birds and things like that. They're just not as around because of deforestation and then also just our, the urban suburban sprawl.
Another factor in this equation is climate change. Our warm winters were great for disc golf, but also for ticks.
More mild winters means more ticks will survive the winter, and so we'll have more, returning the following spring.
It's the reason the Lone Star tick is gaining ground in Minnesota, despite its natural habitat being in the southern U.S. A bite from this bug can give you an allergy to red meat.
The fact that, when we have these short stretched winters with not a lot of snow cover, more of those Lone Star ticks will survive.
Carlson says the third reason on why ticks are a bigger problem now is simply better public awareness.
We're better educated on the types, where they're found, the diseases they carry, and what to do if we're bitten. He says hospitalizations are up partly because people are seeking medical help sooner. With photojournalist Ben Harper, Jeff Wagner, WCCO News.
Here's a live look outside downtown Minneapolis. It is overcast and a little gloomy out there. It's also sticky and hot. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Joseph Dames.
Good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Joseph Dames. A lot to discuss for the day. We have 2 parts to the weather story. One's going to be the heat. It's going to be about 90 degrees. It's going to be humid outside. It's going to likely feel like 93 to 95 this afternoon. Now we're dry, but we will bring in a chance for some showers and storms late tonight, specifically through the overnight. And we could even have some severe weather. In fact, here's our severe weather outlook for today. 1 of 5 risk around here, 3 of 5 to the northwest.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll be back with more news headlines after a quick break.
Minnesota.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Barrett Leone. Joseph Dames will have your next weather forecast in just a minute. But first, developing this morning, police are looking for a shooter after someone was shot in their car at an intersection in Brooklyn Park. According to police, it happened just before 10:30 last night. The victim was in a car near the intersection of Brooklyn Boulevard and Regent Avenue North in Brooklyn Park, then drove to Brooklyn Center and called police, telling them they were shot by someone in another car. Police found several shell casings and believe the shooter shot at the car before driving off. The victim was taken to the hospital. Coming up on 7:57, your next drive is looking pretty decent this morning. That exclamation point on Highway 61 in St. Paul, it is just about cleared. So I'll take you over to a busy stretch here in the metro. Let's head over to Edina on 494. You can see traffic is moving along quite nicely. Roads are dry, but it is overcast out there, Joseph.
Yeah, I am looking at sun moving in as we go through the morning, but it is a little cloudy right now, and it is quite muggy outside. All right, temperatures in the 70s, dew points in the upper 60s. You're going to notice that it's quite sticky when you're heading out the door. Cluster showers up to the northwest, though. It is dry for us right now. I don't see anything really moving in for now. 60 out in Mankato, 71 in the cities. Storms likely overnight. We'll break it down coming up at 8 a.m. at CBS News Minnesota.
This is WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, environmental advocates are calling a new court ruling a strong message, what it means for massive data centers development. Then, when it comes to Minnesota's fraud problem, who is to blame? A new report is pointing fingers at senior state officials, why they say the allegations are a joke. Plus, the calls for safety from runway workers at MSP after an employee got a life-altering injury. And later, after 25 years, the Minnesota DNR is getting an update. The new tech going into effect today. Good morning. Welcome to WCCO Mornings. We're live on our free streaming channel each weekday on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Maria Lazignoli. Let's get to your top headlines this morning. We have developing news. Police looking for a shooter after someone was shot in their car at an intersection in Brooklyn Park. According to police, it happened just before 10:30 last night. The victim was in a car near the intersection of Brooklyn Boulevard and Regent Avenue North in Brooklyn Park, then drove to Brooklyn Center and called police, telling them they were shot by someone in another car. Police found several shell casings, and they believe that shooter shot at the car before driving off. The victim was taken to the hospital. Also new this morning, a man is in the hospital and another is in custody following a shooting in northwest Minnesota. It happened yesterday afternoon in Fosston, Minnesota. That's about 44 miles west of Bemidji. According to police, someone shot a man inside an apartment. Officers say the victim had already gone to the hospital with serious injuries. When police got to the scene, they found the suspect and arrested them. There have been no updates on the victim's condition. Charges are now pending after a high-speed chase and standoff ended in a farm that is just south of Mankato. The Blue Earth County Sheriff says the man fired at officers after ditching a stolen car. Luckily, no one got hurt and they were able to arrest him, but they couldn't find the gun. So deputies pulled out metal detectors and then they found it buried nearby. An update this morning, we're following two data center developments in two Minnesota cities, Faribault and Inver Grove Heights. Let's start in Faribault. A Minnesota Court of Appeals ruling is slowing down plans for a massive data center project there in Faribault. The court ruled in favor of the Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy, who argued that residents didn't have clear answers to questions about air quality impacts, noise pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions.
And in study after study, what we saw is because these companies are caught up in a race to build the biggest AI data centers as possible, as quickly as they can, they often skip giving really any sense of the answers to those big questions about what the impacts of these projects would be.
An attorney representing the city said they are disappointed, but wrote in part, quote, "The city takes its environmental review obligations seriously and believes it acted appropriately and in good faith based on the information available at the time." Archer Data Centers, the development company, said the initial environmental assessment was part of our ongoing effort to be as transparent as possible, adding they respect the court's decision and plan to move forward. Meanwhile, in Inver Grove Heights, the city is also looking to pause plans for a data center there. We're going to tell you about what all went down at a city council meeting just last night. That's coming up in the next half hour. A scathing report places the blame for Minnesota's fraud crisis squarely on the shoulders of the state's Democratic leaders. It claims Governor Walz's administration retaliated against employees who tried to raise concerns, going to great lengths to keep them quiet. As our Connor White shows us, the allegations don't end there.
The House Oversight Committee's Republican majority are the authors of this report, accusing Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison of allowing fraud to explode in Minnesota.
Yes or no? Mr. Chairman.
Citing depositions with senior officials and media reports, the committee came to the conclusion that Walz and Ellison knew about various fraud schemes with enough time to act. They say they either chose to do nothing or failed to do anything. The report states that Walz's team went to great lengths to silence state employees who tried sounding the alarm. In response, both Walz and Ellison say this is all about politics. A spokesperson for the governor tells us in part, this committee has proven time and time again to be nothing more than a joke. Ellison's team pointed to multiple inaccuracies, telling us that the AG continues to go after fraudsters as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
I have not seen any willingness or desire to get to the real truth of how we protect public dollars. We could use the help of the federal government. We really could. We could use the help of that committee, but we didn't get any. What we got was things like, just trying to cast blame a few months before a national midterm election.
This past spring, state lawmakers passed new measures to try to strengthen responses to fraud in Minnesota. As for A.G. Ellison, he says he'll continue to work with the feds to prosecute fraudsters. In Minneapolis, Connor White, WCCO News.
This morning, we have new information on several small wildfires near the Boundary Waters. The Loon Fire is just southwest of Lac La Croix and straddles the Canadian border. That has burned 10 acres. The Buck Fire is about a quarter-mile north of Buck Lake. That one has burned about a quarter acre. Both were started by lightning. Two other recent wildfires, the Tiger and Birch Bay, are now both 100% contained. But an important reminder, if you are planning on heading up into the Boundary Waters this week, a campfire ban is in effect. This is because of dry conditions and wildfire danger. That ban is going to last the entire month of June. 8:06 this morning, a live look outside downtown Minneapolis as we see that next weather tower shining red because it's going to be a hot one today, Joseph.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was joking earlier. I'm going to have 2 water bottles, one to drink, one to throw over my head as we go through the day today. It is going to be hot. It's going to be humid. I mean, you're going to have to find a way to cool on down. I think, Maria, we get our first 90-degree day today. We have to clear out the clouds, though, before we really start developing some of that warmth. I have mid-70s, though, coming out of Marshall, where it is nice and sunny. We've had a cluster of some showers up to the north and northwest. Nothing significant at this point in time. And for the most part today, it's going to be dry, so I'm not sure what's on your summer calendar, but whatever you're doing this afternoon, just watch out for the heat, protect yourself from the sun, and do know that we do have that air quality alert because of ground ozone later today, so that may impact you just a bit. Other than that, it is nice to start off the morning. We top off again about 90 degrees, and if we do not hit 90 today, it's still going to feel like that because of the humidity. We have a lot of moisture in the air. It's going to take a little more effort to cool down because of that. And so that's why you may want that second water bottle I was joking about. Okay, check this out, though. We have a block overnight after midnight. You see this right here. This is going to be our first chance for some stronger storms moving through, maybe even some severe weather overnight after you go to bed. And of course, we will be here late tonight, early tomorrow to keep you covered. My best advice is make sure you have your phone charged up late tonight just in case, because damaging wind would be our biggest threat through the overnight. We have lower 90s out west to mid 90s, upper 80s up to the north, but these locations here will also likely feel like it's in the 90s because of the humidity and because that's quite warm for this time of the year and just in general for northern Minnesota. The National Weather Service up there has decided to go with an area of a heat advisory where it could be feeling well into the 90s. So take your breaks and be careful out there. I mentioned that air quality alert from noon to 9. There it is. This is because of ground ozone. It's good up in the air. It's not good down at the surface, and a mask won't help you with this, so you'll need to be indoors. Okay, I mentioned that first storm threat late tonight, but we have multiple chances over the next day or two. In fact, tomorrow, we could see some really serious weather moving on in and some severe weather, and we have a next weather alert in place. So I'll discuss that portion of the forecast. We'll do that coming up at 8:30.
I literally did that. I brought 2 water bottles to Grand Old Day on Sunday because it was so hot.
Yes.
And
you gotta find a way to cool down, Maria.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Joseph, thank you. All right, checking out your next drive this morning. That incident over in St. Paul on 61, that has cleared. So ignore that, but I'm going to take you up to Arden Hills, where right now there is a crash on 694 in the westbound lane here at Lexington Avenue. And as you see, a tow truck is there, clearing it up, but it is reducing traffic a little bit, slowing it down up there in Arden Hills. A recent life-altering injury is causing people who deliver food and water to airplanes at MSP International to call for better safety measures. The workers at Sky Chef say the company changed the way they do their jobs. In a job that used to require 2 workers transporting things out onto the tarmac, it now only has 1 person doing that job. They say it helps to have 2 people watching out for airport traffic. Recently, they say a worker was hurt and is now paralyzed.
They all talk about safety, but they care about the safety of the aircrafts and then delays, not about the safety of us.
The organization owning and operating Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport is scheduled to do an inspection of Sky Chef's facilities this Thursday. Sky Chefs replied to Monday's press conference saying, quote, following the safety-related concerns raised earlier this year regarding single-operator catering, Sky Chefs conducted a thorough investigation and found no evidence to support the allegations. Happening today, phase 1 of the new DNR system launch begins. Getting your hunting or fishing licenses will now be easier. The previous system was 25 years old and in need of an update. This upgrade includes an app where you can buy and store all your licenses. Plus, you can register your harvest offline in case that you are somewhere without service.
Is that it's definitely being responsive to what we've heard. You know, we've heard the desires. We know we've heard over the years what people wanted. And so we're hoping that this new system will absolutely meet those needs of our users.
As for phase 2 of the launch, we don't know the date quite yet. And if you like doing things the old-fashioned way, don't worry, you'll still be able to get your licenses in person if you'd like. Caught on camera, a deer turned a Plymouth workshop into a drive-through. It happened at a city maintenance facility last week. Surprised workers watched as the deer pranced right on by. A few tried to shoot away. Eventually, the deer did find its way out. Mandatory minicamp begins today for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll check in with the head coach on how the offense is trying to grow with the new quarterback in the building. Plus, the Women's PGA Championship in Minnesota is right around the corner. We'll preview the big event coming up next in sports. In all other sports except football, the Gophers and the University of St. Thomas play each other. But now they're expected to meet on the court for the first time since the Tommies opted up to Division I. Both the men's and women's teams will play at Williams Arena. The men November 6th, the women December 1st. The Big Ten has flexed its financial muscle with the recent commitment to men's and basketball and football. The Women's PGA Championship will come to Minnesota in just 2 weeks. Ren Clayton was at Hazeltine National for Media Day to preview the tournament.
Things are taking shape. Hazeltine National in Chaska looks a little different.
I kind of call it a chameleon. Every day we prepare the golf course to be championship ready, and then to see it come to life with the grandstands taking form. A month ago we had nothing, and now we've got 6, 8 big corporate chalets out there.
The best in the world will tee it up at the KPMG Women's PGA Championship later this month. Laura Frick is the first ever female PGA member to serve as championship director.
It's the amount of energy that I truly feel from not only myself, but the whole team around me, the Hazeltine team, the community here in the Twin Cities. Everyone truly has wrapped their arms around it.
And then there's the built-in storyline. Nelly Korda, the world #1 and most famous and popular women's player in America, just won the U.S. Open yesterday, which means when she tees it up here at Hazeltine, she'll be going for her 3rd straight major championship.
The opportunity to come back here, there's so many storylines around, she did great in 2019, I think finished 3rd. And the opportunity to go from that beginning of her career to where she's playing so well right now and what that could be is amazing.
Just curled in.
It was funny to see her kind of just laugh, and she was obviously thankful it dropped, but we're super excited to have the 156 of the world's best return.
Hunting history at Hazeltine. Ren Clayton, WCCO Sports.
Here's a look at what else is coming up in sports.
Good morning. The Minnesota Vikings are back at it today with mini camp. It's different than the OTAs in that it's mandatory, so just about everybody's expected there unless they have a viable excuse not to be. This is a chance for the offense to work against a pretty advanced defense, and in that, the head coach says, we grow.
What that looks like continues to evolve and kind of change. You get new ideas every day based upon some things you see, and that's the real benefit of going against Flo's group every day is they're going to be dynamically lining up in different spots, and you've got to coach it in a way that doesn't make your guys play slow.
Minnesota Twins are back at it against the now hot Detroit Tiger team. Evaluating players as they go, people like Mike Paredes, relief pitcher. He's given them some long stints in relief out of the bullpen since being called up, and he says that's his key. Just put me in, coach, anytime, anywhere, any place.
Whatever the team needs me to do, whether that be go out and throw in a lengthy bullpen role or whatever it may be, just being ready for every opportunity that I get.
The key is to be ready to grind it out, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always be ready. Always expect that you're going to be in any type of situation, and so when that situation does come, you're prepared for it.
The Lynx welcome Paige Beckers to Target Center. A bit of a showdown. Dallas getting much better as a team. The Lynx relying on, at least in part, one veteran, Natasha Howard. Back for her 2nd stint. She has played very well, including 27 points in a win on Saturday. She says it's all good right now.
Game, practice, and everybody stay consistent. And we don't have a problem with nobody being inconsistent on this team. And everybody's putting extra work in and also take care of our body at the end of the day, too. So we ain't going to stay too high or too low.
We're back at 6 and 10 on WCCO TV. For CBS News Minnesota, I'm Mike Max, and that is your morning look at sports.
Back to the Vikings for a second. As Maxime mentioned, minicamp starts today. The veterans, like Andrew Van Ginkel, know what these workouts are about, getting your body right and staying sharp on the schemes. But did you know that Van Ginkel has another skill? I'm not sure he even knew about it, but he won the team's softball home run derby at Adam Thielen's sponsored game.
I played a little bit of baseball growing up. We used to have a slow pitch softball league in my town that I'd play every once in a while. And, there was a point in time where I couldn't hit the ball to save my life because they're launching it, 25 feet up in the air. So when they give these little lollipops, it's a lot easier to hit.
Coming up, another update on the weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then, HCMC says they are still scrambling even after getting much needed funding from the state government. The concerns workers have about an upcoming cut from the Trump administration. And later, a Wheel of Fortune watch party, how students reacted to their principal winning big.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maria Lizignoli. Joseph Dames will have your next weather forecast in just a minute. But first, right now, the data center debate is happening across the state, including in Faribault and Inver Grove Heights. So let's start in Faribault. The Minnesota Court of Appeals ruling is slowing plans for a massive data center project in Faribault. The court ruled in favor of the Minnesota Center of Environmental Advocacy, who argued residents didn't have clear answers to questions about air quality impacts, noise pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions. Then over in in Invergrove Heights, the city council once again pushed a vote to ban building data centers for 1 year. They pushed that to a future, and they say final date, because last night's city council meeting was the second reading of a moratorium on building data centers in general in the city. But the question now is whether that ban would apply to a specific project. It comes after this company threatened legal action over a pending application submitted prior to that initial moratorium vote. So lots to still dig into. Here on the roads, not a lot happening though. Things are looking good for your morning commute, pretty typical. Like here on 62 at Lyndale Ave, pretty typical drive out there. It's a bit cloudy though as we prepare for a really hot day.
Yes, and we'll build in a little bit of sunshine as well, but there's definitely some clouds here this morning, but that's not stopping the humidity. It's still going to feel a little muggy outside when you're kind of getting out the door this morning. 60s and 70s, warmer out to the west and more sunshine, and eventually that sun takes over, as I mentioned. So you should be ready for the heat, the humidity, and a powerful sun. The sun this time of the year has a pretty strong sun angle for us, so it's going to help us warm up very quickly. There's the clouds, though. Yes, there's no doubt about it. Our next weather tower is red because it's going to be warmer today by maybe 5 to 10 degrees. By lunchtime, we're at 81. I'll leave you at the high temperatures. We have storms tonight and tomorrow. We'll discuss at 8:30 and 9.
This is WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, the reason the man in charge in the deadly Minnesota lawmaker attacks will not face the death penalty. Then, data centers causing controversy. The response from developers as some cities press pause on building them. Plus, contract canceled. The move from Columbia Heights to quit the use of AI cameras in their city limits. And later, a hospital given a lifeline. But now, what needs to happen to stop HCMC from flatlining in the future? Good morning. Welcome to WCCO Mornings, streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and thank you for joining us. Let's get to your top headlines this morning. No death penalty for the man charged in the deadly attack on Minnesota lawmakers. The Department of Justice says the federal charges against Vance Belter don't reach the criteria for the death penalty. This Sunday will mark 1 year since investigators say Belter killed former Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark. He's also charged with shooting Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Belter is charged in federal court with using GPS and the internet to stalk the Hoffmans before the shooting. The DOJ said Minnesota's U.S. attorney agrees with the decision. Belter is charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder in Minnesota State Court. A man charged with killing a beloved barber could face up to 40 years in prison. The judge set bail at $2.5 million for Omar Ramos Castro yesterday. Investigators say the 24-year-old admitted to killing Gabriel Arrazola Perez with a pocket knife 2 weeks ago. Castro told investigators Perez made an unwanted advance after they met up near some train tracks in St. Paul, where police found the 44-year-old dead. Today, a man accused of murder in Minneapolis is expected to be in court. Investigators say an ankle bracelet proved to be the critical clue in tracking him down. New charges say the bracelet placed him at the scene of this deadly shooting over Memorial Day weekend. Police arrested the 21-year-old last Friday and say he confessed. Developing this morning, police are looking for a shooter after someone was shot in their car at an intersection in Brooklyn Park. According to police, it happened just before 10:30 last night. The victim was in a car near the intersection of Brooklyn Boulevard and Regent Avenue North in Brooklyn Park, then drove to Brooklyn Center and called police, telling them they were shot by someone in another car. Police found several shell casings and believe the shooter shot at the car before driving off. The victim was taken to the hospital. Also new this morning, a man is in the hospital and another is in custody following a shooting in northwest Minnesota. It happened yesterday afternoon in Fosston, Minnesota, about 44 miles west of Bemidji. According to police, someone shot a man inside an apartment. Officers say that man already had gone to the hospital with serious injuries. When police got to the scene, they found the suspect and arrested them. There have been no updates on the victim's condition. Charges are now pending after a high-speed chase and a standoff ended in a farm field south of Mankato. The Blue Earth County Sheriff says the man fired at officers after ditching a stolen car. Luckily, no one got hurt and they were able to arrest him, but they couldn't find the gun. So deputies pulled out metal detectors and found it buried nearby. Columbia Heights City Council voted to quit using a controversial AI camera company. They'll now cancel and pay off the contract with Flock cameras. The 12 license plate reading cameras around the suburb were meant to assist in solving crimes or finding missing people, but privacy concerns have led to communities all over the country rethinking the use of Flock cameras. Mayor Amada Marquez Simula worried about data falling into the hands of federal authorities, especially after her city was targeted by ICE during Operation Metro Surge earlier this year.
The main fear is that the federal government, federal agents can get to all this data and that we don't know who's using it, that no one's asking for warrants for this information.
A spokesperson with Flock said their technology has made a measurable public safety impact, assisting in about 20% of solved cases where the tech is deployed, while helping locate more than 10,000 missing people in 2025. The Inver Grove Heights City Council once again pushed a vote to ban building data centers for 1 year to a future, and they say final date. Last night's city council meeting was the second reading of a moratorium on building data centers in general in the city. But the question now is whether that ban would apply to a specific project. It comes after that company threatened legal action over a pending application submitted prior to the initial moratorium vote. Some residents are concerned about the data center's impact on the community and the environment.
I live about a block and a half from the proposed site. I am worried about my family, my pets, my neighbors, my community.
The city must not back down in the face of litigation threats from a developer.
Minneapolis is also considering a moratorium on data centers, though with some caveats. That proposal will be in front of a committee next week. It's also an opportunity for Minneapolis residents to share their views. HCMC got what it wanted, a big boost from lawmakers, and now the leaders of the state's busiest trauma hospitals say they'll put their money where their mouths are. The CEO says they'll now work to make sure a financial crisis doesn't happen again. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield spoke with the CEO for a story you'll only see on WCCO.
From the doctors.
We have to have a solution. We must keep Hennepin Healthcare open.
To the patients.
I wouldn't maybe be here if it wasn't for this hospital and all these wonderful nurses and doctors.
The message has been clear.
We would not want to see this hospital close.
And it won't, at least not for now, thanks to a governor-approved $205 million plus boost.
When you heard that there was going to be some sort of relief from the state, what was your reaction?
That was my reaction.
Dr. Cumming, who used to be a trauma surgeon at HCMC, was brought in amidst the hospital's traumatic financial situation.
Could there be things that could be done more efficiently that you're looking at?
Absolutely.
So county commissioners are adding an extra layer of accountability, planning to appoint a board of locals who are experts in finance and policy to support the CEO and staff.
For taxpayers out there, this was essentially a bailout you got. How did they know you're not here 2 years from now again?
I can tell you that our focus is really going to be on the patients, our workforce.
Dr. Cummings says the workforce has shrunk as staffers quit amidst the uncertainty. And instead of more staff cuts, he says they'll make more hires.
Where there really is a critical need for more personnel.
So they can help the critical needs of others.
Not only our county commissioners, but the legislators and the people of Minnesota. We recognize the significant support that we've received. We're committed to being accountable and responsible with those resources.
With photojournalist Drew Shingen, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, WCCO News.
Hospital leaders say they need to deal with the $1 billion in Medicaid cuts over the next 10 years. They will take care of immediate needs, then work on a new long-term plan. Live outside downtown Minneapolis at 8:38 this morning. Some blue sky is kind of peeking. Not really. It's still pretty cloudy, but we're waiting for some sunshine to come through, right, Joseph?
It's coming. It's coming. Yeah, from that vantage point, it doesn't look great, right? It looks like it's just going to be overcast, but we will get through some of these clouds. We will bring in some sunshine, Maria, and that will lead to some warmer temperatures. All right, those clouds are starting to drift to the north and to the east, and we're starting to see a little more clearing not too far away, so it should work itself in as we work through the morning hours, and we'll have some in the afternoon as well. There's still going to be some clouds passing on through, but it should be pretty dry as we work through the day today. Have temperatures warming up to 90 degrees coming out of the cities, which it's kind of hard to believe how warm it's been. We've been like anywhere from like 10, 15 degrees above average recently over the last like 3 weeks, that we have yet to hit 90 at the airport. We've had areas around here that have hit 90, but the airport hasn't officially. So we'll see if we do that today. Today may be the day. We have mid to upper 80s up to the north, Hinckley, Brainerd, Alexandria, all in the upper 80s. And if you continue to go north to Itasca County, portions of St. Louis County, all the way up there, highs also pushing the upper 80s, and it's going to feel like 90 up there. We're going to develop a little bit of fuel this afternoon with the sun. We're going to get the heat. The sun's going to heat up the ground, and then that's going to warm us up, and it's going to help us with thunderstorms later today. Now, so I'm going to show you an example here. This is our thunderstorm fuel graphic, and our deepest and most fuel is going to develop out west. And this is where we'll likely see storms develop later today through the Dakotas into western Minnesota. But as those form, they can potentially sustain themselves to carry into the central section of the state when we head into the overnight. So we could see storms develop out west later today, and they may end up passing through while you're in bed tonight, and they could potentially even be severe. And so I want to talk more about that here in just 1 second. Notice that that thunderstorm fuel shifts over us into the southeast on Wednesday, increasing our chances for thunderstorms around here, bubbling up here tomorrow and not necessarily out west. So here's the forecast. I'm going to zip through the day today because there's not a lot happening. You'll see the clouds, you'll see the clear moments. No rain to discuss as of at least 4 p.m. But watch over in the Dakotas. You'll see a line of thunderstorms developing, and then those look to carry beyond midnight into our direction. Now, the last couple of weather models have also suggested this, and I've been seeing this for the last couple of days. So I'm feeling pretty confident that through the overnight, we will have a pretty good shot to see some thunderstorms. Now, we may lose this threat when the sun goes down and we get to midnight, but for now, I'm keeping it in the forecast. So I'll be here early tomorrow morning. These could potentially be severe, and I would suggest making sure your phone is nicely charged when you're heading to bed tonight, just in case, because wind damage is our most significant threat out of these clusters of storms. Now, Wednesday morning should be pretty dry. By Wednesday afternoon, we may see a few thunderstorms develop, but I don't necessarily think that this is going to be the main core of the strength of storms tomorrow. I would say probably more in the late afternoon and evening right here when you see these storms moving on in. And we could potentially get severe weather out of all of this, and the storms tomorrow can pose a threat across the board in all elements, meaning we could get some localized flooding and downpours, we could have hail damage, we could have wind damage, and we could have rotation embedded into these, leading to some tornado warnings. And that's something that we will keep you covered with. And that is why we have a next weather alert for our Wednesday all day, because of those multiple rounds of storms and those threats that can carry into the afternoon and evening tomorrow. So you should have some backup plans. You can see with our severe weather outlook that we have an enhanced level 3 risk for tomorrow, 2-1 over to the west. So we could see the main strength of those storms kind of setting up in this area, though there's severe weather in the forecast for everybody. All right, and it'll be a little hit or miss, but you definitely need backup plans, especially in the afternoon and evening. Upper 70s behind it, Maria. We cool down. That will feel nice. We've had so many days in the 80s that mid 70s to lower 70s by the weekend is going to feel a little cooler, and it will be pretty comfortable. I think we ditched some of the humidity, and we may even be in the lower 70s by Monday.
That is my literal perfect day. 75, low humidity.
Yeah,
a weekend,
these are sweet.
perfect.
These are sweet. I love these like all summer if we could get it.
Yes.
But we have a couple hot ones
yes.
too.
All right, Joseph, thank you so much. Checking out your next drive. Things are looking great out on the roads. We do have one incident we're watching that just popped up in Brooklyn Park on 94 here in the westbound lane. You can see not impacting traffic. Things are looking good otherwise. This past Memorial Day marked 6 years since the murder of George Floyd. After years of planning, construction began yesterday morning at George Floyd Square in Minneapolis. Phase 1 involves full underground construction around 38th Street and Chicago Avenue. The $15 million project involves replacing underground water and sewer lines. Above ground, new asphalt, new sidewalks, and a new bike facility will be added for both legs of the project. The project manager says work on those streets hasn't been done in more than 60 years.
There are 2 fists on the south leg and east leg that will need to be relocated with the construction project. Will be temporarily relocated. Once construction is completed, we'll bring them back to the same location.
Construction is expected to run through Thanksgiving. The city says it'll provide weekly updates on the project. Coming up, another update on the weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then, special moments for a family of sea lions after months of rehabilitation. The joy captured on camera as they made their way back home. People in a small Minnesota town are trying to solve the mystery of where a giant U.S. flag came from. The WCCO County Historical Society says this huge U.S. battalion flag was discovered at the county fairgrounds, and it spent more than a year searching for answers with no luck. And this is huge. This flag is 600 square feet, which is essentially the size of a large two-car garage. It has some stripes sewn by hand and others sewn with a machine. It has a 48-star design that was only used between 1912 and 1959. And the best guess so far, the museum director believes it may have been purchased for a community event or used outside a larger structure that's not around anymore.
If people have ideas, they are welcome to contact us, or ideas like leads would be great. Otherwise, we are planning on, either way, we're planning on selling it because we just aren't able to safely store it.
So anyone with leads about the flag's origin or anyone who may want to buy it, you can contact the museum. After spending time outside in the woods, you know, as a Minnesotan, you need to check for ticks, but that wasn't always the case in our state. So when did ticks become a problem? Good question. The first cases of Lyme disease were in a small Connecticut town by the same name. That was in the 1970s. Then in the 80s, scientists discovered the disease came from tick bites, specifically the black-legged tick, also known as the deer tick. In the same decade, Minnesota began to identify Lyme disease in our state too.
So it used to be, 20 years ago we saw ticks maybe in Washington County, a little bit of Anoka County, and then kind of speckled throughout. And now we see deer ticks established pretty much all throughout the state of Minnesota.
And there are 3 reasons ticks are a bigger concern today than in the past. First, reduced natural boundaries due to deforestation and suburbanization. We interact with animals much more often than in the 20th century. Another factor, climate change. Warmer winters mean more ticks will survive. And third, there's simply more awareness. Hospitalizations are up partly because people know to seek medical help sooner. Taking a live look outside downtown Minneapolis, you can see cloudy skies, but it's going to be hot. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Joseph Dames.
Well, we may hit our first 90-degree day of this season. We've had a lot of upper 80s, like we've hit 89 multiple times, but today I think we could get that little extra push, that little nudge to 90. If we don't, it's still going to feel like it because of the humidity out there, so our heat indices will be in the lower 90s. I have 93 out of Marshall, 91 for Wilmer. We'll start off with some clouds, but we'll bring in some sunshine this afternoon. We're pretty dry until late tonight. Heat alerts up north, feeling like 90 up there.
Your bright spot this morning, an exciting moment in Los Angeles as 3 sea lion pups were released back into the wild. This is so cute, you guys. When these 3 pups were found, animal hospital workers say they were somehow separated from their mother and were malnourished. But now they're healthy and they're happy and they're back swimming in the Pacific Ocean. And these pups knew exactly what to do, scampered right into the water, and to make it even cuter, they're named after food: marshmallow, casaletti, and orecchiette. I'm Italian, I should know the names of those pastas. But regardless, cute. As always, we will continue to keep you up to date on the latest weather and news all day long here on the stream. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.